Hi, I'm Becky Streepy from Glue and Glitter, and today we're going to make my cheesy, chili, vegan tater tot casserole. Y'all, this casserole is rich and creamy. It's easy to make, and I'm going to walk you through how you can do it using the recipe as written or how to use pantry ingredients in case it's a challenge to get certain groceries right now. This recipe uses a classic vegan cheese sauce. It starts out by sauteing some veggies with flour, adding vegan milk, adding vegan cheese shreds, and that sauce is rich, creamy, and amazing. However, if that sauce is not doable for you right now because of the grocery situation, or if you're looking for a healthier base for this recipe, instead of doing the whole cheese sauce portion of the recipe, you can make my garlic cashew cream and use that as the cheesy base. If you don't have the fresh veggies that the recipe calls for, don't worry. Instead of the onion and the garlic, you can use onion powder and garlic powder, and you'll just add those when you add the chili powder. So you'd use a tablespoon of garlic powder and a teaspoon of onion powder, and just add it a little bit later in the recipe when we add the chili powder. If you don't have the bell pepper, that's totally fine, just omit it. Start by grabbing yourself a stove to oven kind of a pot. I used my Dutch oven, but anything that can go from stovetop to oven will work fine for this recipe. Heat your olive oil right in the pan on medium-high, and then add some chopped onion, chopped bell pepper, and minced garlic. And you'll cook that up, stirring occasionally until the onion starts to turn translucent. When that happens, it's time to add your flour. You can use chickpea flour like I did. You could use all-purpose flour or whole wheat flour. Any of these will work. Oh, or white wheat flour. Any of them will work. You're just making a roux. Don't be intimidated by the word roux. A roux is very easy. You're almost done with it. Just stir for a few minutes till the flour gets nice and toasty, and your roux has happened. You did it. The next thing we're gonna do is make a bechamel sauce, which also, don't let that scare you. All it is adding some vegan milk to the pan. In this case, you'll add 2 cups. And you're going to cook that down until it gets nice and thick. Boom, bechamel. You did it. I'm proud of you. In this case, we're gonna spice up the bechamel sauce a little bit. So after you add your vegan milk to the pan, you'll also add a tablespoon of chili powder. That's gonna give this that chili flavor that we're going for. Bring that milk chili powder mixture to a boil, stirring occasionally. And when you stir, you'll wanna scrape the bottom of the pot with your spoon because all of those veggies are going to tend to sink to the bottom, and because there's flour in there, it's going to want to stick. So just make sure you're scraping as you occasionally stir. Keep an eye on it. It'll take about 10 to 15 minutes depending on the kind of milk that you used. And you want it thick enough so that when you drag a spoon through the bottom of the pan, there's like a split second where you can see the bottom of the pan before the liquid fills in to occupy that space. At this point, you'll remove the pan from the heat, and then immediately, while the milk mixture is still hot, add your vegan cheese shreds and stir them in. The ambient heat in the pot is what's going to melt the cheese. If you do it over the stovetop, the cheese might burn and stick to the bottom a little bit, so removing it from the heat is the best way. Now that the cheese is nice and melty and you've got a real ooey gooey cheese sauce, you're ready to add the rest of the ingredients, except for the tater tots, to the pot. You're going to add a cup of frozen corn kernels along with a drained can of red beans and a drained can of black beans to the pot. Now, if you don't have red beans or black beans, that's not a problem. You can substitute pretty much any beans you want for that, just 2 cans of beans. You could use lentils, chickpeas, white beans, just kind of see what's in your pantry and go with it. Now that you've added your beans and corn, just stir that up to get everything nice and incorporated, and then use your spoon to kind of smooth the top of the pan. You want a nice flat surface to arrange your tater tots on. So now grab yourself some frozen tater tots and arrange them in a single layer on top of the bean mixture. And it's fine if they're touching, but you don't want them to overlap, because where they're overlapping, you'll end up with mushy tots, and that's not what you want. You want crispy tots. So get a nice single layer on there. The recipe says 3 cups. That's just an estimation. It really depends on how wide your pan is. So just keep adding tots until the top is covered. Now pop that in the oven. So how long you're cooking these and at what temperature is really going to depend on your tater tots. Different brands have different cooking times and temperatures that they recommend, so follow the directions on the package for that. And I recommend using the maximum cooking time. So if they give a range like 17 to 19 minutes, then go the full 19. If you don't have tater tots or can't find them, you could use any other kind of tot that you like a cauliflower tot or a sweet potato tot would be great on these. Just go with what is available at the store. One thing that I do not recommend is topping this casserole with frozen French fries. Frozen fries really need to be flipped to get fully cooked through. I made this with frozen French fries and it ended up very underwhelming, so don't do it. Once your casserole is all baked and the tots are crispy on top, you're ready to serve. You can serve this straight up like in the video. Dave and I also love to top these with pickled jalapeno slices. It's really good. Pickled onion is great on here. Sliced avocado if you can find it. Pretty much anything that you would put on top of a bowl of chili is great on the top of this casserole. I hope that this video has answered all of your questions about how to make this cheesy chili tater tot casserole. If you have any questions that I didn't address in the video, feel free to drop them in the comments below. I'm always happy to help. And don't forget to rate and subscribe. Happy cooking!